Hello YouTube, my name is Nick, and today I have some more metal stuff to show you today. Got a big old stack here of some pretty amazing stuff. Some that came out this year, some that came out maybe a year or two ago, and then we got one pretty good one right off the bat here. So I'm not going to talk too much right now. I'm going to try to just talk about these albums. And to get it started off, we have an album that I honestly thought I'd never own. The original copy of this, I've never seen one for sale. It was extremely limited, and this is one of my favorite bands in the technical brutal side of death metal. But this is Plutonium Heaven by Cytotoxin. Very polarizing band in brutal death metal right now. Extremely violent, lots of pig squeals, lots of technicality to be heard. But this is their debut. This is much more straightforward slam, brutal death metal. This has a much less noodliness, to say the least. Much more straightforward. This is kind of a shorter album. The production is much more stripped back, and it's not as fleshy and meaty as it is now. But this is still an amazing debut. Again, I thought I'd never own this because these are stupid rare, and this is the first repress that there's ever been. So yeah, I'm really happy to have this. Definitely recommend this if you like the band. It's definitely different than what you're accustomed to if you only know their second and third albums. But yeah, this is Plutonium Heaven by Cytotoxin. See if I can get this on here without too much glare. So yeah, brutal stuff, radioactive stuff. This next one is probably the biggest surprise of the year for me. This is one that I knew I was going to love because it's by a group of musicians I really respect and I've always admired. But this is very different than what I expected. This is the new album from Voices entitled Frightened. If you don't know Voices, there's a couple members from Apocrypha Kx and also the Antichrist Imperium, one of the most popular UK bands. My love for them is well documented. I have the other two Voices albums, and this is very different than anything probably any of these guys have ever done. And this is a jaw-dropping experience, to say the least. This is almost like these master musicians came together and did like a dark or alt-rock album. And this, it just works. This is the Todd Howard album. It just works. These guys have created such a magical atmosphere, and they're so talented at the instruments, but they're playing it in a way that isn't totally metal. It's not totally rock either. It's not like radio friendly or anything. But there are so many songs on this dang album that just blew my mind when I first heard them. The first two songs, Unknown and Rabbit's Curse, just totally amazing. Dead Feelings, one of the best songs of the year for sure. And the last song, Footsteps, probably one of the best songs, if not the best song, any of these guys have ever been a part of. It's, when I first heard that song, it's so down to earth and like relatable and almost kind of poppy to an extent. It's really depressing, and it just like made me break down into tears. I'm honestly not gonna lie. This album is crushing from first second to last second. If I only had one complaint, I think the song Manipulator could have been cut. It's a little short, it's a little not that good. But this is an absolutely fantastic album. I might do a full review of this. That's how much I love it. So yeah, check out Voices with Frightened. This next one is an album I didn't know would ever be made, because the first album was so ambitious and so large that I didn't know if there'd ever be another one. But to my surprise, it came in a timely fashion, and this is Liquid Anatomy by Alkaloid. If you're not familiar with Alkaloid, this is essentially maybe the best supergroup in metal right now. It's got Danny Tunker, Morianne from Dark Fortress on vocals. It's got Hans Grossman, and I think Christian Windsor does guitars. Yeah, here's the lineup right here. Yeah, as star-studded as it gets, honestly. And Alkaloid play this very technical and progressive kind of death metal, but they have a songwriting aspect that's almost kind of poppy, where they like fill some of the words and some of the what's the word I'm looking for here? Some of the syllables, some of the syllable filling kind of feels kind of poppy and rocky, and it ultimately succeeds for this band, especially on this album. Like my favorite song on here is probably Interstellar Boredom. That's like the quintessential Alkaloid song. But one of the songs I was most looking forward to this year was Rise of the Cephalopods, which is a 20-minute song by this band. And I think that's honestly where the songwriting defeats them. It's a little too repetitive, it's a little too anthemic for my taste. But every other song on this album is a jam banger. If they would have just kind of split that song up, maybe into a couple different songs, it would have succeeded better. But this is still a phenomenal album. Their first album was very high on my end of the year list when that came out. So check out Alkaloid on Season of Mist. Big band, big label. So hopefully you know them. This next one, I think, is a debut. I do not remember offhand. But this is a really cool band that I found recently, and I'm getting more into this kind of style. This is Tales from Hydrog from Etheria Conscientia. Very nice, kind of almost steampunky artwork. This is kind of like progressive black metal, maybe sort of in the vein of Enslaved, not really. But there's a lot of sax on this album, and I'm really getting into saxy black metal. This is just like really, really well written stuff. Lengthy songs. There's only 4 songs on here, but it's around a little over 40 minutes or so, I think. My favorite song on here is probably the last song. That's probably their funkiest song. Just lots of great stuff going on here. Cannot complain about it. I got number 31 of 100. I don't know if this is the only press of this. Hopefully not, so more of you can listen to this. Yeah, go check them out. As always, link will be in the description for everything I ever talk about. If it's not, just yell at me and I'll put it there. So this next one is a band, I think I talked about their last album. I'm pretty sure I did. But this is technically a compilation, but it's for the most part an entire album. But this is The Great Adjudication by Claret Ash. Their last album really struck a note with me. Really fierce and ripping, but also kind of melodic black metal. But this is a duality of their Part 1 and Part 2, The Great Adjudication. And you can definitely tell where Part 1 and Part 2 diverge, because there's a much different production and songwriting. Definitely more black metal for the first part, and a lot thicker production in the second part. I don't know if I prefer one to the other, but the first part definitely is their meat and potatoes kind of thing. That's their style. It's what I'm familiar with. So I don't know if I'd recommend one half or the other, but definitely go into it knowing that there is going to be a subtle change, per se. But yeah, this is a great album. Can't complain about really anything on here. It's very lengthy. I think it's around maybe over 70 minutes, something like that, and they fit it all on one disc, which I'm very happy with. So yeah, go check out The Great Adjudication. This is on Beverina Records. So again, that'll be in the description. This next one is an album I have been anticipating for a little while, and hopefully most of you know of this project, because this is a project of a fellow YouTuber of mine who I'm pretty good friends with. This is Aeternalis by Apocrypha Kx. This is the project from the Guttural Monk, Pete Colucci. This is honestly a superb album. I wouldn't cover this just because I know him and he's a cohort of mine, and hopefully I can call him a friend. But yeah, I'm not just saying this is good because I know him. This is honestly a fabulous album. The songwriting and the musicianship, plus the inclusion of a live drummer, the same guy who did the Sutra album last year, is on live drums on this. And this is totally fabulous. This is... the best way I can kind of describe this is like a tough biker dude, but he also has a tiny puppy. This is a brutal technical album, but it also has some like weird progressive, like soft moments where it still has some emotion, but it is brutal as heck. And it's definitely technical. Where temples are older than trees, Sovereign Symbol, Pareidolia, those are probably my two favorite songs. Just everything on this album is fantastic. It has a deep, bassy, kind of old school vibe and production as well, which is what I know he was going for. Great artwork as well. Again, link will be in the description. I think this is limited to 100 copies, so if they're not sold out, go jump on this because this is totally fabulous. Can't support that project enough. So yeah, that's Apocrypha Kx. This next one is not going to be everyone's jam, but I really like this style, and this was a surprise to me because I was not familiar with this project. But this is Altar of Perversion with Intraneous on there, but it's kind of hard to read. This is just a little under 2 hours. This is a double album, big old digipack here. This is kind of just like their Metal Archives page says it's raw black metal, but that's not what this is at all. I haven't listened to their back discography yet because this album is so long and it's hard to digest. So I haven't listened to any of their previous stuff, so maybe it was raw black metal, but that's not what this is anymore. This is tremolo picks for days and days. Lots of great riffs. The vocals are not hard to sit through whatsoever. You won't get tired of them after the 2 hours of this album. The production is great. Everything is audible, and it never really gets on your nerves at any point. Yeah, amazing artwork. Really like that. Just can't recommend this enough. This is one of my favorite black metal albums of the year so far. I haven't heard many people talk about this. I don't know who released this, honestly. But yeah, big old album. Worth your time if you like long albums. Every song on here is long as heck. I don't think there's one on there under 10 minutes. There's some almost 20 minutes. So yeah, that's Altar of Perversion with Intraneous. This next one blew my hair back, blew my socks off. One that I had not heard of, and not one that I've heard anyone else talk about. But this is one of the most impressive albums I've heard in a very long time. And this is a cornerstone of the genre. A new bar has been set in the genre. This is Scorn with Parthenope. Or Parthenope. I'm pretty sure it's Parthenope though. This is an Italian symphonic black metal band that far exceeds almost every other symphonic black metal band out there. The symphonics sound very genuine. They stick to the black metal side. There's tons and tons of great black metal riffs on here. It's ultra creative. It sounds uniquely Italian. There was a pre-order, I don't know if it was a pre-order, but there was a special edition that came with a rock from Mount Vesuvius with it. I didn't end up getting this, but this comes with a entirely orchestral disc. So yeah, big old digibook. This looks like the Dodsingle Imperator book, almost. But yeah, this is a fabulous album. I believe this is a one-man band, and they deserve your attention more than any other new symphonic black metal band there is. This is the new shiz, I'm gonna say. This is it. This is where the genre is going, in my opinion. And if it doesn't, shame on you, because they deserve the world. And the last album I have here today is Mandatory Slam Listening. This is one that I was anticipating for a while, and I'm really glad that it finally came out. But this is Entities of Transdimensional Emergence by Rendered Helpless. This is the guy from Organectomy. I believe I also covered the debut of this band a year or two ago. I think it was 2016. Yeah, this came out this year, and this is, like I said, a mandatory slam listening. The production on this is thick. This is a thick boy right here, and it's also from Inherited Suffering, so it has the cool disc etching that they do with their albums. Super awesome. But yeah, ultra thick, ultra guttural, big, meaty production, as high quality production as there possibly can be for a slam album. This is analepsy quality kind of stuff. Big, heavy, nasty slams, big old bass drops, just everything you could ever want from a slam album. It's not too long, it's not too short. It's the ideal listening experience for slam. Whatever this guy's doing, he's doing alright. So yeah, Rendered Helpless, Entities of Transdimensional Emergence from Rendered Helpless. And that's going to be the last CD I have here for today. I have a couple more things coming that are definitely worth your attention. I'm going to be starting a new series here soon as well. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, because I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it. But expect new things. Hopefully you found something you enjoyed today. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. Go check out these bands if you haven't heard from them. I don't talk about stuff that I don't care for. Everything I talk about is stuff that you should spend your time and money on. So that's going to be the end of this video, and I'll see you next time. Mwah.